Alright, so I want to talk about sheets really quickly. We're open to the multiple view sheet that we created last time. You don't have to have multiple views on your sheet, and for this I want to go ahead and go to a single view sheet so we can take a look at some other options more specifically. So I'm going to go to my section 2 and I'm going to close my hidden windows, and then I'm going to scroll down and open up my section 2 sheet. So my section 2 sheet has my section 2 view placed on it. I could window tile at this point, which we've been doing, and then zoom extents for both of these. There are other options available to you for arranging windows. Revit's not really super good at arranging windows. There's an add-in. I have an add-ins tab up here called Palladio that comes in and will arrange windows for you. So my section 2 sheet is highlighted. If I click top, it just puts that on the top and arranges the other one on the bottom. There's a flyout for right. You can make it smaller, right, or bigger. So there's a lot of sort of options that are available to you. I'll go ahead and change it back to top, right? Alright, so what I want to look at initially on this sheet is changing the size of something on the sheet, and to do that we change the scale of the drawing itself, because this is an 11 by 17 sheet. This is a rather large object that has been set to a scale and placed on this sheet. So if I zoom in and select that viewport, you're going to see that the view scale comes up at 1/32 of an inch. And if I go to the flyout down here and scroll up, I can pick 1/16 of an inch, and it updates that. And I can place this sort of back in the center, sort of eyeball it. And if I come down to my section 2 view, you can see that it is also set to 1/16 of an inch, so it's updated it as well. There's also a flyout in the views down at the bottom left that you can use. So if I came in here and say change this back to 1/32, it will update in the view and on the sheet, but it's offsetting it on the sheet. So make sure you check your sheets if you update the scale and the view to make sure that it didn't offset it incorrectly. So I'm going to go back to 1/16 of an inch. It's going to pop that guy back in. So let's go ahead and maximize this guy. So I'm now in the sheet. Now how do you get this guy set accurately on the sheet so it will be easy to, maybe if you had multiple views, to line them up correctly? There's a guide grid that you can use to do that. So I'm going to come in to my view tab, and I'm going to select guide grid under sheet composition, and it's going to allow me to choose a default guide grid that has a grid at 1/2 inch, and I'm just going to click OK, and it's going to place this grid over my sheet. It's going to overlap by 1 inch, which is a little odd. I don't know why it doesn't just do it to the sheet, but that's not for me to decide. I have set mine to gray. Yours will come in at blue, and you can certainly leave it that way, but if you'd like to change it, you can go to your Manage tab and your Object Styles and select Annotation Objects. This is an annotation object. It is not a model object. Scroll down to your guide grid, and you will see that you get a color option. Left click on that, and then you can come in and update it to whatever color you may want it to be. I tend to like the lighter colors, so click OK, and then all of your guide grids will be that color. Now once you have your guide grid up, you can kind of zoom in, and what we're going to do is we're going to use the crop box, which is this interior line. This is your crop box. This is the outside of the viewport, and it's extending because of these reference lines, but don't worry about that. It's not going to print. We're going to left click on the viewport, and we are going to move from the corner of that crop box. We're going to move it down to snap on one of those grids. So you can now see that this is accurately placed 1/2 inch from each side based on the crop box. Now if your crop boxes aren't set accurately, you're not going to be able to use them. If they're all over the place, then you'll just have to eyeball maybe part of your object. So setting up the crop boxes correctly like we did initially helps a lot. So now let's take a look. We've got 1, 2, 3.5 inches, 1.5 inches. So this needs to move up by 1 inch to be in the center of the crop box. Let's go ahead and get that guy. So now that guy is centered. All right, the last thing I want to do, and I'm going to go ahead and go back to my add-ins and go to top, zoom these guys, is there's no ground plane being shown here. And there is a ground plane in here. It's just been turned off. And you can turn it on in two ways. You can go back to your view. So I'm in the view now, not the sheet. And you will get that option to toggle reveal hidden elements. So if I click on that, it's going to show everything in that view that's hidden, and you're going to see a ground plane in there. You can select it, come up here to unhide category, and it will unhide it. And then you can toggle the reveal hidden elements mode here, and it will turn it back off, and you see it will also show up in the sheet as well. Now if you're in the sheet and you don't want to fiddle with going back to your view, and you've got something that you need to do quickly, you can access the model in here. Right now, if you pick, you only get the viewport. Like, you can't actually pick the model or any of the levels or anything like that. If you want to be able to quickly update something, select the viewport, go to activate view, and it actually allows you now to sort of reach down through that viewport and select the individual model elements. So I could actually pick this topography that I gave you, right click on it, hide in view category, right? So now it's hidden. Now I'm still in that activated view, so I can't really pick anything else out here. To get out of that activated view, deactivate. You just right click, gives you a flyout menu, deactivate. Now I'm back out in the sheet. So if I wanted to turn that topography back on, I could select this view, activate view, reveal hidden elements, select, unhide category, toggle reveal hidden elements, and then I have my final step of deactivating the view. All right. So that's it for this one, and we'll have one more that we'll go through a couple other things.